Hey Booktube, this is Kelly. Thank you so much for watching my channel, Books I'm Not Reading. It is the weekend, thank God. Yeah, man, 2023 has gotten off to a really rough start. So, anyway, I do have some books I want to talk to you about, but before we do that, I want to introduce you to my Kindle. Check that out. So one of my dear friends gave this to me because they love e-readers so much and couldn't possibly understand why I didn't have one, and surprised me with it. So it feels a little bit like an alien in the house. But it was really easy to set up. The only thing I've downloaded so far are the complete works of Shakespeare. I haven't bought any books yet. That doesn't mean I'm not going to, but I do have an awful lot of books here to read, and I do have my high priority TBR, which is definitely physical copies. So I am excited though. I think later this year I'm gonna buy, I think you can buy all of Trollope's works for like 99 cents. I found like a Christmas Trollope collection that was 99 cents. So this will feature more in the future. Right now I have to focus on the books that I was planning on reading this year, but I definitely do think, I do really like the idea of being able to increase the font size on this. I probably didn't set everything up as perfectly as I should have, but that's okay. Like, it's all right. But anyway, so I think we should name it though. So I want your ideas for a name. It's Blue. We can't call it Blue because that's my cat's name. But I was thinking, you know, something like space related would be good for this, because like I said, when I got it, it did feel like there was an alien that had moved into my library. I'm officially joining, I guess, our current century. We're probably one of the last households of actual readers in the world who didn't have an e-reader until now. I had a couple experiences with e-readers in a professional setting, when I worked at Barnes & Noble, of course, and then one other place. They were very positive, but I think things have come a long way since then, and yeah, so this will be a new adventure, and it will definitely play a role in the TBR for next year for sure. Because I do have some plans that I could really use maybe a bigger font for, because they're chunky books. Okay, so what have I been reading? Well, March is halfway over. Can you guys believe that? Okay. So before I get into the readathon books, I was gonna make an entire video about it. This book, it's just not really worth it. This is Empathy, Why It Matters, and How to Get It by Roman Krznaric. I know I'm preaching to the choir. If you're a manager out there though, and you assign a book to your staff or an employee, like, you should read the book too. And you should actually talk about it. Right now, my coworkers and I are going around saying, that's not very empathetic of you. So we've had a lot of laughs at it. When I first mentioned this, somebody brought up a study from, I think it was like the University of Toronto, about how reading novels can affect your empathy, and there is actually a chapter in this book, I think it's called like Armchair Travel, and it's talking about photography, novels, and film, which I agree with. I just don't like his examples. So one of the books that he mentions is Middlemarch, a Booktube favorite. I know so many people who love Middlemarch, and I'm not one of them. So when I saw that in here, I was like, the other book that he mentioned, which I was really surprised by, is Oliver Twist. And that is on my high priority TBR to read this year. But I do know enough about Oliver Twist to know that some people consider it anti-Semitic, and so or anti-Semitic in its portrayal of one of the characters. So, yeah. So I will, when I read Oliver Twist, I will have that, I will be critical or looking for that kind of thing. But to have it in an empathy book, frankly, I think a lot of Charles Dickens books have to do with empathy, right? They are about transporting us to other classes of people, people living in a different time, but still people of all sorts. And yeah, so I thought, man, Oliver Twist and Middlemarch, those are your reading recommendations to me, man. I could buy a big stack of books and I could go upstairs to our library and grab a slew of films that I think have a lot more to do with empathy than are mentioned in this. Anyway, so we'll see if I ever end up actually talking in a staff meeting about this book, but my biggest problem with it overall is that the people who need empathy are never going to pick up this book, and the people who already have it, the people who already do have a sense of empathy, I'm not sure they really need to read this. The other thing that really bothered me was he acted like, all of the people reading his book are, completely unattached. They can just drive around South America for a year and work in a leper colony and, just go off for a year. And I did that. I didn't do the South America thing. But I did live in inner city Chicago for a year. And I did it when I was not married. I didn't have a house. I didn't feel incredibly attached to my job. And so, yeah, it's just kind of one of those things where we just can't all drop everything we have and go do something just so we can become more empathetic. And that really irritated me about the book as well. Okay, that's way too much time spent on that book. So, on to other things. This week I finished Tru Nelle, which is based on the real-life friendship of Truman Capote and Nell Harper Lee. So I enjoyed this book. I read this as part of middle grade March, and also it's a mystery. And so I think it counts for March Mystery Madness. I'm counting it as March Mystery Madness. But yeah, I felt like it was really, in some ways I felt like he was trying to not write To Kill a Mockingbird, but give you an origin story for To Kill a Mockingbird maybe. There is information about Truman Capote and Harper Lee in the back of the book, along with some pictures from when they were children, which I think is really cool. It seems like he did spend a lot of time researching what was available about their lives. Yeah, so unfortunately, though, it's really more about Truman than it is about Harper Lee. And yeah, but there is a mystery. There's snakes and witchcraft and different things like that. But yeah, so I mean, it was good. It was good. I think this would be a wonderful way to introduce readers who are not ready for To Kill a Mockingbird I haven't read In Cold Blood, but I don't know when I'll be ready to read In Cold Blood. But it was a great way to introduce two really important American authors. And it is a fascinating idea that such influential American authors spent some of their childhood together, living in their own imaginary worlds as children do. So anyway, I don't think I'm going to hold on to this. So if there's somebody out there who would really like this book, let me know. And I'm way behind on sending things out. So let me know in the comment section if you would like this. And if we have multiple people, I will, I don't know, have a drawing or whatever. I also I don't know if this really counts as March Mystery Madness. I promise I am going to read something that's legit for March Mystery Madness, okay? But for March Mystery Madness and the Irish Readathon, I read another story in the Best Ghost Stories by Joseph Sheridan LeFanu. I am so grateful to those of you who have been teaching me about Joseph Sheridan LeFanu and Ireland in the time he lived. So thank you for that. So I've been trying to just make sure that I read stories that are set in Ireland. This week I read St. Dominic's Bargain and Ulster de Lacy, A Legend of Copper Cullen. And yeah, again, really pretty creepy. It's interesting that the one story that I read for Victober from this it felt like it was trying not to make itself creepy. It was about a haunted house, which I thought was, I thought would be perfect, but the people didn't seem terribly distressed about their children finding human bones in the backyard, the back garden. So anyway, the other stories though are all holding up really well. So I know the cover is hideous, and I know I think there's only maybe one more recent edition of this, but I can't believe this isn't available used somewhere. So if you like ghost stories, or if you like, just small doses of creepiness in your reading, they're great stories. They're really, really fantastic short stories. Now, a really legitimate 100% March Mystery Madness book that I just started reading last night is Murder in the Marais by Cara Black. This is the first in her series about Amy Leduc. She considers herself more of a tech investigator. She's kind of a hacker. I definitely hope to make a good dent in it over the weekend. I do have another middle grade book next to my bed. We'll see if I get to it or not. Other things, many of you have been asking about Jason, which is so kind. He is still sick. And I think it's gonna be a long haul before he's fully better. I really don't think he's any better than he was when he was diagnosed with pneumonia 2 weeks ago. So if you could keep sending your positive thoughts for him. One of the things I want to say is I'm sending out my positive thoughts and vibes for all the people I know on Booktube who are dealing with chronic illness, and especially one of my dear friends who has COVID, and I am really thinking about you. Don't even know if you're going to make it this far in the video, but I hope you're doing better, and you are in my thoughts. I also want to say that there were some really cool things on Booktube this week. My St. Patrick's Day tag strangely generated some really interesting conversations about from people all over about how they celebrate St. Patrick's Day. I heard from someone in Dublin that I've never heard from before, which was fantastic. Yeah, so I really do love hearing from you in the comment section down below. Again, if you don't feel like leaving a comment, you can always leave me an emoji, but it is really special. I heard a great story about two Jews who met at a party on St. Patrick's Day and ended up getting married. I loved it. I just love it. People in New Zealand talking about St. Patrick's Day. So yeah, it's really, really special. Really, really special. So there's also a couple new channels or newer channels that I wanted to mention that I've seen. One is Groovy Poptart. The other one is Reading Through the Generations. And then, the last one is, it's going to be down below. All three of these new channels. I can't. The third channel, she actually did the St. Patrick's Day tag, which was cool, which was very cool. I don't think any of these three channels have done the Booktube Newbie Tag, so if they are watching, please, please do the Booktube Newbie Tag, even if you've been on Booktube for a while, because it's such a great introduction to who you are and what you want to do with your channel, and it will really draw a lot more people to your channel. I promise you it will be good. So but anyway, so those are just a few channels of people who have just recently started channels or people who were under a different YouTube name. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Booktube, you guys just mean so much to me. Thank you so much for all your love and support and your kind thoughts about Jason and myself. So again, remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I hope you have a great weekend. I'll talk to you soon, Booktube. Bye.